today's topic that I will start talking about is a simile that I really like. And it's mostly about happiness, traditionally. So I would like to ask you guys that how do you usually make other people happy within your life? Like you have friends, you have family members, you have acquaintances. Jokes? You make jokes?
Goofing around.
Mm.
No, I'm not funny in that way. I just do dumb stuff, and usually people run up on that, and then just, I don't know.
Listening.
It's how I deal with things.
Listening?
Being grateful for their presence.
Oh, well, that's great too. Like being grateful. How about you other guys?
Are you helping them out?
Helping them out. That's also great. How about conscious? If you don't mind me asking you, you don't have to reply if you don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, I usually joke around too to make it better. I usually just joke with my family. Well,
Yeah. How about which? If you don't mind me asking you.
Well, usually, I guess I'm the one who gives out all the chemistry answers. I don't know if it makes them happy or if I'm just being used. So.
You just give the chemistry answers. Oh, okay, cool.
Well, they always come to me for the help. And I say,
but-
like, this guy is sitting over there.
But happy, I mean.
I mean, does that make them happy? I help them out. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so. How about Panda, if you're able to talk? You don't have to
what?
if you don't want to. No, there's a person behind you called Panda.
It's okay. I think it really depends on what kind of friend I'm talking about. Like, some of my friends love their own personal space and they just want to like listen someone talk because it makes them calm. And some like to for me to just listen to them, I guess.
That's wonderful to hear. People also on the stream too, you can also answer the question too if you want to. But when we are talking about how to make other people happy and so on, I think there's an excellent simile, a story that is quite short. It's like, I think it's like only 3 verses, and it really well teaches and tells quite well how can you make others happy. And where is it? It's over here. Whoop! I forgot where I put all my notes. Okay, this is the wrong one. I have like, how many papers? I have like millions of journals around me. This one. So, 1,000 candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. So I like this simile a lot, and when I talk about things that I share with others and me wanting to improve the world or making others happy or feeling loved or something like that, usually I do not start with other people at all or the scenario itself. Where I start at is myself. It's just like a candle itself. I lit myself and then I am lit in a good way and not in a weird way. But
Hell yeah.
yeah. But yeah, but I light myself within the candle itself, and then when I feel happy and when I feel loved and when I feel joyful or I have changed myself, then I give that to others around me, so that like the life within me does not decrease. Because if you focus on others and like making others happy, what might happen quite often is that you start decreasing within your own happiness itself. But if the happiness comes within you, like it is self-generated out of nothingness basically, then when you try to make others happy, it just happens automatically. You were trying to say something, Conscious?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. But that's what I really love, like, because like it's also like a Thai tradition too, or like in the Buddhist countries they have this tradition of lighting like candles, like they have this monastery and then they have the lighting of 1,000 candles ceremony where they sit by themselves and then they light their own candle by using one candle itself. So everyone's sitting on their own spot, and then there's one candle that goes from a place to place and place, and then it's just the same candle that lights all of them one by one. And sometimes the tradition can get really big, and there might be even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of candles, and it can go for hours. And it's extremely beautiful when you see like entire lands of like candles being lit. Go on, Edward.
Yes, could you also like light lanterns? Like I hear in the Orient, they light lanterns, send them up into the air.
Oh yeah. There's that tradition too.
And they have that tradition there. Is that like gives you happiness? That just seeing them float in the air, or you can like think of them as there goes my troubles. They're gone.
Yes, that's very true. I don't know that much about that, but I just really love this saying itself, that if you didn't like not trying to give it like externally, trying to give it first internally, and when you have internalized it, then you can give it out. Because like, you know, there's a lot of people out there that tell others like how to love and how to live like a green life, like, you know, eco-friendly life and so on. But I would say that, like, you know, if you also use the same simile for like eco-friendliness, like trying to make yourself first eco-friendly and then others after that, I would like, you know, that would be like, I think the most ideal, that not teaching others how to live within peace but making oneself within peace, or not teaching others how to be loving but teaching oneself how to be loving. But do you guys have trouble finding happiness within yourselves?
Yes.
Is there anyone that has no problem finding happiness within themselves?
I would say I'm pretty happy.
Oh, you're happy? Oh, wow. That's great to hear.
I mean, sure,
But
there are
holy shit, he
things that
didn't
I want.
expect the whole story.
I mean,
Go on.
I wanted to say that I mean, there are things that I want to improve, but I guess that's just life. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, you can have this like different forms of happiness. Like happiness itself is a word that is more like an umbrella term for different forms of happiness. You can have happiness like that is external or internal, or you can have happiness from skating, or you can have happiness from love. Many different things. But finding the internal happiness itself like is quite crucial if you want to live a life where you share your own happiness with other people. It doesn't decrease your own happiness itself, because it is mentally extremely exhausting, like trying to share yourself with the world, but then you get decreased at that. But if you're living within yourself, like, you know, within your own solitude, that becomes much easier. And that's why I love meditating, because within meditation itself, like, I understand myself much better, and I understand the concept of happiness, and I understand the different concepts within myself much better. And then I also understand that this is like, I am the same as most people, and the way that I experience happiness is quite similar to other people too. And when I feel pain and so on, the other people, like, they kind of seem to kind of feel it the same way. So understanding oneself, like, you know, can get big reflections on how other people also experience things. And that's why, like, I think that meditation is extremely crucial, like, lighting up that part of yourself by yourself, so that, like, you find your own happiness within, like, meditation. Like, because when you're meditating, you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there and nothing is happening. But if you can find happiness from that, then it means that no matter where you are, if you're able to get into that state, you will be able to just find happiness no matter where. So it's kind of like, having a cheat code. It's just like kind of like GTA. You can have like cheat code for, like, jetpack wherever you go. It's kind of the same thing. But kind of expanding some small things about happiness when we are still talking about it. For me, understanding the two different concepts of happiness, or like the two different truths, at least for me, there might be other truths too, but at least for me, I have understood that happiness is, there's of course multiple different forms of happiness, but the happiness that comes, like, that is like life lasting, goes from the start of your life to the very end of your life. I think that is formed not in the future or in the past. So understanding that happiness can be only experienced in the present moment. Because, like, some people have this idea that, like, once I graduate, or once I get a girlfriend, or once I get XYZ conditions, then I will be happy, right? I used to be that too.
It's such a lie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lie. They're trying to hook you in. They're trying to hook you in. Yeah, especially the different companies. Like, when you look at advertisements, it's the same thing too. Like, you look at an Apple ad, it's like showing you that, like, when you have the Apple products, you will be so happy. You will have, like, these, all your friends will be around you. They will be smiling and being like, ah ha ha, yippee, yeah. But it's never like that. When you get that, when you get the phone, like, no one does really care. But once a person is within that loop itself, like that, they start talking, like, you can listen to them and you can hear it within their own talk, how they talk about things, like, how they're talking about the future. Like, if they're really future oriented or past oriented, they're talking about how everything was good at the, like, long time ago. Like, in this one scenario, life was good, but now everything's bad, or that vice versa, that, like, life was or is going to be good once these criteria are going to be met. Then what you're technically training your mind to do is to understand that happiness is outside of the present moment. So the more you start doing it, the more your mind will train yourself to be in that state. And the people who, like, believe that once they're, like, for example, like me being a kid, like, I always believe that once I'm gonna be an adult, then I'm gonna be happy. What's kind of true, because, like, now I'm pretty happy. But I believe that, like, that I wouldn't be able to be happy as a kid. But so kind of like, my man, like, you lost your childhood, like, right there. Because
I want to go back.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who want to go back to their childhood. Yeah,
it's really crazy just to think how common that is. Like, even small things, like if you're at school, people will be like, I'll be happy once I get out of here.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
Yeah. Edward, did you have something to say?
Yes, I was thinking, as a kid, you're much happier because you're not aware of what's happening in the world. You're just aware of what's within your sphere, and you're happy with that. But once you grow up, you become more aware with computers, internet, then things start messing you up. But also, I find that people that live on farms, they seem to be more happier because it's like a simpler life. They don't have electronics. They just take care of the cows or the chickens. I think they would be, like, more happier than where we are right now with all the politics, the computers, the internet coming at us from all sides. It's kind of like almost overwhelming us, kind of hard being happy with so much things coming at you from different things like television or advertising. But the simpler life would be like living on a farm, and they just know the landscape. They just do on the corn, make the corn like that, and till their fields, milk the cows. I think they would be like much more happier. That's what I think.
I do believe hearing that the most happiest group of people in America are the Amish, because they are completely separated from because they're completely separated from the rest of the society. And then also they have the other factors too that are quite common with happiness. The others are like being spiritual and being within a community itself. If you're in a community and you're spiritual, and then you're like outside of the society itself, like, you know, in a tight knit community, you will be happy. I'm not telling people to become Amish though, but but yeah, like technology like can really help us, like, you know, to do, like, for example, this kind of stuff. Like, you know, I'm over here on VR and talking to multiple people across the entire world, what's like absolutely insane. But at the end of the day, if you look at your average person on VRChat, I don't know if they're that more happier than the Amish.
No.
Yeah.
There's also reasons why I don't watch news or TV.
Yeah. That's so true. But especially like for me, like, you know, I wasn't the only child that believed that like once I'm gonna be an adult, then I will be happy. Like I believed that childhood was like so limiting that you can only do a couple of things. But once I got out of the loop, because like the thing is that when you start believing that, right, like you believe that the happiness is in the future, you train your mind to believe in that. So the more time passes, the more you believe in it, and then once you actually get to that point where the circumstances are correct, then your mind will automatically jump to another one. Like that's how the mind works. Then you will start thinking about your career and the different positions in your career, or then living abroad, or something else. And it's just how the mind works. But it's just understanding that even though if you can find the happiness within certain criteria, your mind will wander out of that very easily. And even within that too, when you meet that criteria, then you need to be present within that criteria itself. That when you are, like, you know, an adult, then you need to be aware that, like, hey, like now is the present moment. I can only be happy within this present moment itself, because that's the only place where I can actually experience all of the emotions. But that's the first thing, that, like, you know, it's not in the past or in the future, and not in a different realm or in a different place. It is time and space is like the place where you actually are at the moment, and the time too. And the other thing is that when we are talking about this really long-lasting feeling of happiness, it comes from it can come from different places. But if it comes from the sense organs of touch, smell, taste, sight and hearing, then it's external. So it's coming from an external source. But this means that there has to be certain criteria within the external world for you to find this happiness within. But if your happiness is beyond the things that you can taste or touch or see or hear or smell, when it comes from outside of the external objects, then you can find happiness within the internal side of you, like within your own mind, in the present moment, within your own mind. And I think those are the two things that I remind myself, where I can find this place where I can light my own candle. And when this place can find happiness, when I can be present, like, you know, while meditating, and then I retreat myself like a tortoise, like goes within their own shell, like, you know, retracting their limbs and their head. If I can find happiness within this place, then it means that I have found like a light. I have lit my own candle or lantern, and then I can easily share my own happiness with the world itself without retracting my own happiness itself. But I think that, like, for some people over here, it might be kind of hard to find the emotion of happiness within that place and state of time. You can also use the what is it called, the emotions too, also on VRChat too, if you agree or not. But yeah, conscious dead. Oh, they're being
I'm here.
brought.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You're just doing yoga.
So much.
Yeah.
I'm just doing yoga.
Yeah, yoga. Don't you mind
Excuses, I've heard those before.
But you can use the emotions, or you can just say it out loud or whatever you want to. Do you guys have issues finding happiness within meditation itself? No?
For me, the thing is, though, that I get distracted quickly, especially now on desktop, and then I just start thinking about things, and especially overthinking. And it's because, you're just sitting still, you're trying to focus on you, but, sometimes your mind just wanders off, and then you're getting distracted, your mind just goes everywhere. And that's kind of really annoying for me. Well, not
So
really annoying.
Mind wandering and sleepiness. But yeah, like a lot of people, I also have the same issue too. I also overthink too, so it's no problem at all, because everyone deals with the same problems. Just know that there's a lot of material out there that can help you out with that. But I would say that even if you have issues finding happiness within meditation itself, it is just a matter of time when you put the right criteria within the mind itself. You will start actually developing it, just like tree will start to bloom and create flowers and fruit itself. The more you just do the XYZ criteria of meditation, then you will just naturally find yourself being in a feeling of happiness without even thinking about it, really. It just happens automatically. What's pretty great, and what's kind of weird itself. But do not take any of that with my own authority, and do not just believe what I say. I just say that just practice what I say, and you will find the results yourself. Just like a scientist itself. Because the mind is a system itself, an environment, and if you put different causes and different things within it, you will get different results. It's just kind of like a garden. If you will overwater it, then there will be certain kinds of plants that will only survive in that. If you don't water it at all, then you will have also different kind of plants living in there. But that's how the mind works, that having control over what do you actually put within your own mind, you will start having certain kind of criteria within that. But repeating the two facts about happiness, that is internal and then it's only in the present moment, and that when I repeat that to myself, on a constant way, I start to remember that even in this moment, what I'm doing, I'm walking to school or taking the public transportation or just watching random videos or talking to a random person. I just noticed that, also in this moment too, I can find happiness. It can be found somehow in this present moment itself. And it's almost time for a meditation. So is there anyone that wants to say and conclude something with that? With the topic of happiness and the 1,000 candles? Go on, Edward.
Yes, I was thinking you can find happiness within meditation. So once you leave the meditation and you go outside, there's like problems come out at you, and it's kind of hard to find happiness there, and unless you're like really strong spiritually, that you can like sit down and just meditate on it. But some people are not that strong, so I'm not that strong. When a problem comes, then I lose all that's affecting me. I don't feel happy. Depends on the individual.
Yeah, of course. And then also it depends on your own skill too. But that's why meditation is only the training ground. But the actual, like, game is played in the real world, right? It's kind of like, what is it called? A fighting game. Like when you're in a meditation, it's like the training ground itself, like, a really blank place where you can test out the different skills and the different moves. But once you get out there, then you will start to see, like, how to implement the different things that you have learned and how to interact while having the same kind of wisdom that you have found within the meditation itself. But interacting with the world while being yourself, lit as a candle, you can light 1,000 candles. And that's something that you yourself, no matter who you are, you can actually change the world, the lives of thousands of people. And it all starts with the fact that you change yourself. And if you can change yourself, then you can change 1,000 people. What's so amazing.
That's the difficult part. That's hard to change sometimes. I find
yes.
It's hard.
It's difficult for me
to be a monk. You have to become a monk. I think if I'm a monk, then maybe I could be more happier. But I'm not a monk, so just human. So
yeah, but I would say that I have been able to change myself for the better. Of course, not 100% complete, because there's no perfection in this. You can never be perfect, even if you become a monk. But I would say that I have had great benefits. Like, for example, accepting people that have hurt me in the past. And then also just enjoying life in general, in all kinds of circumstances. Like learning these kind of things. And putting a different filter on life and different filter on approaching life itself. It's already like so rewarding that I would say that nothing in my life has been as rewarding as like learning these kind of skills. What we will start doing now. So thank you everyone for watching on YouTube, and please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification and the like button. Let's go.
I'm in your balls.
Yeah.